Back another week, folks. It's your Big Go Bell Media crew, Lucas and Najee, here to give you the recap and review show of Your Honor, Season 2, Episode 6, titled Part 16. We got so much to cover in this episode because, man, was this episode nuts. And for everybody that's following us here, one, if you're not following us, hello, welcome. Jump in the chat, jump in the comments, be a part of the conversation all night. And hopefully if you like what we do here, you hit the subscribe button, notification bell. That way you know exactly when it is we go live. But for all the folks that's been rocking with us, we appreciate you. Welcome back. We cover another show simultaneously. And now that we're in this really pivotal week in series, episode 6, episode 7, they are bringing it out. This series has already been fantastic. This episode is almost like a season premiere, how things are going in a completely crazy direction. Lucas, you said something a couple of weeks ago. So I'm going to start off with you early with this episode. When you talk about, oh, this show doesn't wait for arcs to play out. They give it to you right away. What did you think? I mean, and you can talk about any particular part of the episode here, even the end if you want to talk about the end. But what part of this episode really solidified that statement that you made a couple of weeks ago?
Oh, so you caught me off guard. I was about to talk about a different part of this episode that I had questions about. But the part that fits into what I talked about last episode was, one, the return of Joey, and which completely caught me off guard because, I mean, who doesn't need more Chet Hanks? Come on now. But that caught me completely off guard. But also just the finding out Eugene is alive, discovering where Eugene is located, and then what happens to Eugene by the end of the episode. For all of that to happen in one episode. For a normal show, episode 6 is where you discover he's still alive. Episode 7 is where you discover his location. And episode 8 is when we get the resolution to what happens to him. They stretch that out completely. Here they're like, nah, man, this is going to be one episode where we're going to completely unveil this entire thing around Eugene. And just to show the mistakes that at times we make that may seem minuscule at the time, but by the end, it just blows up everything humanly possible. And that brings us back to the thing that went in my mind the most about this episode. Who cuts drugs with the window shades open? It made no sense. It made absolutely no sense.
Tell us how you really feel.
Like, he didn't. The point of Joey didn't even have to like sneak up under the blind. He like, oh, I'm gonna see you cut. like no one. But it also shows, and just to take it back to a little bit more serious note, because that's crazy that they did that. But it also shows the comfortability of the people that work for Big Mo, that you would actually do that. That's almost a signal to you just how much she controls everything around them, that they don't even see that as a hazard anymore. And because them not seeing it as a hazard, also the other incidents about the young boy when he clearly looked like he went in that stash house for something else, and it wasn't just to come see his older brother. Like, all of these instances play out of you just being too comfortable in your situation, too comfortable because she's put this blanket over you that makes you think we're untouchable. And this episode is all about anyone who thinks you're untouchable can be touched.
Yeah, man. Well said. And listen, I wasn't even going to join in on this, but I will, because while you just displayed a season of some other series, that was one episode tonight. And honestly, let's talk about the turf war here, where you have Desire, you have the Baxters and whatnot, and then and then obviously when you add Michael and his side of things, this little triangular war that we've seen through season 1 to season 2. But truly, when you talk about the turf wars, the Baxters versus Desire, and then if that wasn't enough, you throw in dirty cops. And then you get introduced to a major dirty cop, one that changes everything. And beyond this person name, so like granted, and like we'll get right to the moments of the episode, but I'm just going to talk over blanketing real quick. we discover that there's another important person involved with the plot. Then they name drop the person, which I was like, oh, I didn't really think that was going to happen so quick. But okay, cool. So then we name drop the person, and then we meet the person, and it's like, could it be? And then we see the person say, yeah, it's me in the episode. So understanding that, like, I wonder if there's anybody out there that think this show moves too fast. I'll be really curious if anybody thinks that.
I can see anyone who's accustomed to the pacing of other shows. But in all honesty, the reason why it shouldn't feel like it moves too fast, because while there seems like a lot of reveals, it's so much more story left. And you don't have a lot of episodes left in this season with the amount of storylines that need to be closed off. So what Your Honor does a great job of is, instead of leaving so many open-ended stories where you got to close them all out in the final episode, you kind of see it's pointing in the direction where that final episode is going to be about one story, which it should be. And it's probably Michael. And you need to close everything else out before you get to his story fully. So that's why I like this pacing of this show versus other shows that these 2 seasons would have lasted 10 years on another show. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get into it, folks. Y'all can let us know in the comments some of your favorite parts of the episode. Let us know in the comments right now. Starting off at the top of the episode, we do have Michael in the interrogation room, right where he were projected to go at the conclusion of last week's episode after being brought in by what's her name? Detective
Blanca Rodriguez, Howard Bryant.
Whatever her name is, it'll come back to me in a second. But anyway, he's brought in because she has questions about the statement that he gave to the Louisiana Police Department in the night of his wife Robin's death. And he's a judge, so granted, I know he's had a lot of trauma in his life, but there's no doubt that he knows how to hold his composure in a situation like this. So this was going to be a game of who's actually the smarter one here. And he already knew, like, listen, you played me, you brought me in with cuffs, which is important, folks, that he made it very clear. You walked me through here in cuffs. You wanted to embarrass me, but at the same time, too, you wanted to make yourself feel good. So not only are you trying to run this, you're trying to run this jealous husband theory on me.
Yep.
But at the same time, what he really didn't say was, you're also trying to play salty ex-friend.
That's the key part there. You're still a little mad. You're still in your feelings. And that's why you walked me through here in handcuffs, because it made you feel better.
Yeah.
But in the end, what did it really do for you?
Like,
it was really condescending when Michael said, and you walked me here to embarrass me. He didn't say, like, basically acknowledging the embarrassment. It's more like, no, you did it for yourself. You did it to embarrass me. But Michael didn't seem like he was embarrassed one bit. So, I mean, he was on a hunger strike about to kill himself in prison. I don't think this was going to embarrass him.
So Detective Castillo tried to get the upper hand on Michael, but it wasn't happening. But as he asked the right and proper questions and stuff like that. Like, we get it. She cheated on you, which I totally had forgot about. Shout out to the person in the comments last week that had mentioned that, like, don't forget that we know that his wife Robin was cheating on him with some black guys, or people thought the person that was being brought in there was, the black guy that might be involved with. But shout out to the fans of the show and fans of ours jumping in the comments letting us know. But so with that being said, like you said, like, listen, we got a picture of you and the man that murdered her all in the same frame here. So what's good, and whatnot, person of interest and whatnot. So but anyway, he walked out of that joint free to go because she didn't have anything. What really gets interesting now is Michael getting picked up by Robin's mom, Elizabeth, who's been gone because she left town. And what's interesting about Elizabeth is, and played by Margo Martindale, is she is very strong with her words. But I couldn't think of a more of a counterpart of her personality to Michael than her, which we've seen the banter throughout 2 seasons, but like putting them in the same car now with the same objective really like raised the hair on my back, where I was like, oh, this is going to be good. One, I want to say that this is Margo's coming out party for her performance in this series. You know, she's kind of been a supporting character. This one made it feel like a recurring character this episode. But the two of them says, listen, I want to know why they bring you in after 2 years. Like, you know, what's the suspicion now of you killing Robin? And she said, but I know you didn't do it because you're not that type of man. Which is a very interesting profiling of a character here, because everybody else thinks potentially could be. Some people do, some people don't.
Down to her saying, I thought at one point in time it could be you, but you don't have it in you. Like that's a heck of a thing to say. Like, I know you didn't do it because you don't have that in you. That's not you. So it's kind of acknowledging at the same time that, like, she understands that at the core, Michael's a good person. That's not something you would actually ever do. What I loved about the performance in this episode is this is the first time we've seen her break. Like, she's been the stoic figure of this family. And in this episode, it was heartbreaking, as we'll get to later on in the episode, when they're at the convenience store and that conversation she has, and that's like that monologue she puts together there is the monologue that normally wins people awards.
Yeah,
because it's so straightforward, it's so staunch in what she's saying. Like, just to tell somebody, you'll never get peace. When the young man walks in and says, man, you wouldn't want to know this secret because I haven't had any peace since I've saw it. And she said, you'll never get peace until you give me peace. Like, that's a hell of a thing to say to somebody. But it also shows, again, just how strong a parent's love is for their child. Yeah. Like, she's been holding it in this entire time, because she was kind of content in a way of not having to dig into her daughter's death, and maybe even reserved in the fact that maybe I'll never know what actually happened. But now that she can get the truth, oh man, it's heartbreaking to see what she goes through in this episode.
Right, because listen, every episode we always talk about the beginning scene with Michael, and seeing Michael in the interrogation room was obviously him letting the viewers know, like, yeah, he's going through a lot, but like he's also still very sharp when it comes down to the law. But what's really important is the second scene here, which is the scene we're talking about here, is that, you know, understand the two of them got an objective together, and that's like saying, like, listen, we're going to put some clues together. Why are they coming after you? But also because the person she was sleeping with, he also wasn't home like he said he was. So we seen the two of you together, and we're going to figure it out. And it says, listen, and he comes forth now. So we trying to figure out what's the deal with this. And he said, well, the two of them said, well, we're going to have to go talk to him. All right. Then what's important here is understanding this guy, Michael, has claimed to not have family because he's lost everybody. I think this moment of solidarity between them both compartmentalizing the death of Robin, the grief, and understanding
Robin and Adam.
Yeah. Oh boy, you talking about the moments later when you talk about little Rocco, you know. But I mean, like, yeah, and so it's safe to say Elizabeth may be strong, tough, and all this other stuff because she is actually the female version of Michael. Wouldn't that be something? Be something?
And again, just think about that convenience store scene when she says, "I lost both of my babies back-to-back years." Like that, you got to understand how much that hurts. One, for a mother to lose their child when that's never supposed to happen, but then you turn around and a year later you lose your grandchild, like that. But again, this whole time she's been stoic, standing firm, being the strong one. We've already seen Michael break. We never saw her break though until this episode.
Yeah. So we have well, first off, we have little Gene asking about what's up with Lil Mo. But anyway, Big Mo is back with 3 bricks of heroin. And they got a little problem here. But anywho, the solution that really isn't a solution is we gotta cut it with the fentanyl.
No, not cut it with fentanyl. They wouldn't cut it with fentanyl. The 3 bricks someone gave it to them and cut it with fentanyl.
Oh,
and
yeah, that's right.
Wasn't the chemist that did it.
Yeah,
there's
everything's
no telling how much. So when she say, "Hey, you better cut that shit," to basically cut it to it's so weak that nothing can happen to anybody, and then still sell it away from our territory just in case something does happen. It don't happen here.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Lil Mo. I mean, excuse me. Eugene asked about Lil Mo. Big Mo making making the well, it's not even Big Mo, but it's the Desire Boy saying, "Listen, like we just gotta cut it down again." And because yes, we don't want bodies dropping in our turf, so sell it out in this in the burbs, inside the inner city, and do what it is. And Eugene, get your ass on that bus tonight. So yeah, send it into the city so that the bodies ain't on turf. But like as you mentioned, this is just a recipe for disaster to come. We have Jimmy and oh well, this is also a coming out party too.
They got my man going through it in this damn
episode. Man. Oh man. So Michael, Jimmy played by Michael Stuhlbarg, and Carmine by Margolis. Man, I gotta tell you, man, this episode was crazy good. But Jimmy is confronted by Carmine by saying, "Listen, the mayor's stipulations will be costly." True, that's why he made them, because he knew they could handle it. But he says, got some old friends who may be interested in a partnership here, so we'll see what happens. And I was like, oh boy. Oh boy. Listen, the once retired Carmine is slowly but surely trying to stick his way back into the game. I love it. I absolutely love it. Because once the top of the totem pole always feels they're going to have to beat on the top of the totem pole. Can imagine coming back in because you're hearing Jimmy ain't running the family right. And you're thinking like, all right, cool. I'll give him therapy and then I'll leave out.
hey. He's like Bob Iger coming back into Disney, just taking over stuff. Like, dog, I thought you was gone. Like, this was supposed to be my company. Like, Jimmy, like, I'm supposed to be the guy here now. And oh no. Not him walking back in and they playing No Chance.
Yeah. I swear, if Vince McMahon really just hangs it up, a cameo in a show like this would be perfect. Like, oh, that checks out.
he could have easily played the father here, and no one would have batted an eye at it. It'd be like, yep, that makes perfectly good sense.
Or one of their old friend investors here. So, yeah. So, what is next? Why am I confused what the next scene is here? But
after they do everything with Jimmy, after they meet, and it's clear that Jimmy goes off the rails during the meeting.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Because I had it. Yeah. My apologies, folks. I usually got a little flow here, but I got a little confused as to what my next scene is. The next scene is Michael and Elizabeth showing up at Dude's house, which my note says shows up at Dude's house because dude name yes, dude name is Kenneth, who comes out with the shoddy. Reminds me of my uncle down in the South. Actually, you're definitely not coming into his off the grid house and think he's not coming out with the shoddy and a couple of dogs.
Nobody's off the grid house and just driving up and it'd be okay.
Yeah, I was like, Uncle Kenneth, is that you out there? Literally, but his name's Kenneth. My uncle's really not. I just, But anyway, I was like, yeah, you're definitely not going to be showing up to nobody's property down south thinking it's sweet like this. But he comes out and obviously he knows Michael and says, well, what's the deal now? Like, what we need to talk this out. Everyone's looking for closure and understanding that Kenneth is some type of reporter, as he referenced his articles, which we also know that, well, Robin was also a reporter. He was more or less on the photography side of things, where Robin was more of the reporter, getting the word, the interviews and whatnot. But they work hand in hand, and obviously had this affair. Work life culture, man.
If you don't sleep with your coworker, are you really at work? I mean, if you think about it, like,
you better leave Nia Long alone.
Hey, look,
she do not want to hear this.
Hey, look, she need to understand. It happens. It happens to the best of us. Right? Everybody got a little ume in them. I mean, it happens.
Oh,
oh, pause. I didn't mean it like that.
Hey, the good morning, what was that? Good Morning America, folks, man. I tell you, man, just wrong with the gimmick out here.
But again, it's about that you working side by side with someone you can't help but get close with that person, and that's the connection you clearly feel is between Kenneth and Robin. Is that like all those hours working together and being able to confide in one another?
Yeah,
and then that's what drew her away, even down to when Elizabeth picks up the picture. And she said, I love this. I always love this picture. Like it's something where you can understand like these type of shots, these type of images are taken by people who are deeply connected to one another.
Yeah.
Because then you can see the real person when you do things of this nature and you work with each other.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, like, while it could seem like an intense moment because like she was like having an affair, everybody understood their assignment here. And that is that everyone just wants closure. And as Kenneth said, like he came forth now because they arrested someone on Grand Theft Auto who was a former gang member who he used to use from time to time as a source. So, you know, he has changed information for a deal. And then, you know, Nancy Castillo came to see him, and that's where it all is. And come to find out,
wait to make that deal.
Not at all. But come to find out, Michael and Kenneth are each other's alibis, as either one of them was home. Yeah,
exactly. Because they were with each other. So neither one of them at home because they were with each other. But they're the perfect alibi because neither one of them committed the murder. Yep. Like I love this because this is a pivotal part of this episode where you realize, oh, if someone else killed her, who could it possibly have been then? Because these would have been the two prime suspects here, but they're each other's alibi. So who else could we come up with? And boy, did they manage to throw a little stick in the ring here, and then and then put this man in everything at one time.
Yeah. Seen plenty of stories like this on the ID channel. So,
hey, this is a Law and Order SVU special.
For sure. Just to see it ending the way it did, though.
Not only did he kill Robin, not only did he shoot Eugene, not only is he investigating the car accident, he was also raping a black boy for drugs. Like, what else? Where is Benson and Stabler when you need them to save the
day, We get the return of Joey. I'm not gonna say full-time crackhead, but he's definitely getting there. He's definitely a dope fiend. He's about crackhead. It's about 7. I mean, he has a car. He still has his teeth. He has the Walking Dead. Yeah, he has a phone. He has the Walking Dead walk. He's not quite there yet, but damn near close. But too bad because it looks like he's never going to fully manifest. He might actually turn to a zombie at the end of this. Who knows? So how this show is, just never fucking down. But the corners are out. He tried to get a balloon. He had money. They said, get out of here. So, hey, much like we know, the corners are dry. It's a drought. So, but we see the demand is there. NT who but yeah, this now since Joey on like I need to figure something out. He has to because he has a car. So he has money, so he has means to get into the bottom of this. His own investigation.
He's a heroin addict, which is worse than crack.
Yeah.
He's a heroin addict with a huge addiction, a cell phone, and a car that he has to put gas in. You can't tell me he ain't functioning. Like maybe heroin is the drug of choice if you want to function completely. I mean, or crack.
One more episode, and he was going to sell all of that, though. Don't worry.
Yeah, everything. I'm surprised it wasn't gone already. If you need to hit that bag and you're riding around in a car, like, I will give you this car for a bag right now.
So we get Carlo at the hotel, and he's talking to his dad. He's like, Jimmy, man, I want to join that meeting. I want to learn. He's like, hey, sit this one out. What you thought about that right here? Just this self-contained little exchange between the two of them.
Jimmy just basically putting him on the sidelines, like, you're not ready for this. This is not for you. I mean, at this point, we do understand that Jimmy doesn't trust him, right? We kind of understand that. It's not a love thing. It's a trust and respect thing. He's not.
He doesn't trust them because he doesn't trust them, but he also knows like it's not.
Carlo's an idiot. Like how many things have he had? How many times has he had to get him out of situations? So that's what I mean by it's a trust and a respect thing. Like I don't respect you enough to bring you to this meeting, and I don't trust you in this meeting. Like no, I literally at the beginning of the season we had an issue because you wanted to go gung ho, and guess what happens? The end of the episode of this one, we get in everything because you wanted to go gung ho. Like you can't be trusted to make these decisions here.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I thought
your mom might want to sleep with you, but your dad don't trust you.
I thought so too. I mean, like Jimmy obviously know he's about to walk into something crazy because Carmine's in it. But also he's just like, I don't need any more confusion here. So Jimmy sit this one out. But I thought it was, Carlo sit this one out. But I thought it was interesting that Carlo can clearly see he needs to step up in somewhere because, sir, you are definitely being benched right now. You aren't really coming off as even in consideration as the chosen one. So you might want to like reevaluate yourself in order to get into contention, but not this one. So, and it didn't take long for him to really show why.
Exactly.
Just in case anybody was feeling a little bit of empathy for him in this situation. But anyway, so he gets up there, and Sal and Philip collaborate from New York. Listen, heard you needed a sizable capital here. I offer you a good old 8-figure loan here, but I need access to those ports. And Jimmy said I was not aware that New York had dried up. A little moment of silence here because no one had an answer for that. But okay, anywho, he said, well, how long would you need the use of the ports? He says, well, for the duration, the life of the loan here. He says, well, I don't deal drugs. Everybody knows that. It's not my business. I don't want that in my city. So there's that. Jimmy doing what he does. What did you think? Or should I wait till we get more of the conversation? Because there's obviously a lot more.
Get to the second part, because the second part is the most important part of that conversation for when Jimmy says that everyone knows I don't deal drugs. That second discussion had really put Jimmy in his place to let him understand. Okay, you're a walking contradiction.
Yeah. So back to Kid and Faust. So he asked about the whispering on the phone. He said, any idea who that might be? He said, no, it wasn't him. So as Michael are asking these questions, but he did mention that, he did know from his wife. I'm getting everybody's name all confused now. Why is his wife's name slipping out of my head? Robin. There we go. Out of Robin, that there had been a string of hits. And with all of this, and he also knew as well too, rival gangs, and there were targeted executions here. So like at this point, when Kenneth is saying all this, I'm still thinking to myself, like, what the hell does this guy do with Robin? Like she out here slanging or something? I was a little bit confused here, but I'm like how they brought this full circle at some point. But yeah, he mentioned that at the corner store, there was a witness that had got in contact with Robin. Now makes it very clear that this was the person who had called Robin. And he asked for the name, and the name was KJ, and this is the first person who was going to come forth and confirming the working theory that cops were doing these killings. When I heard this, I was like, what the hell is this show about to do? We got a couple more episodes left this season. Y'all here bringing the 30 cop angle. Wow.
We know it's about to go to.
Yeah.
But first task force. We already know it's about to go, Joe.
Definitely said that. I was like, oh man, here we go. Where is what's his name? God, Shane.
I was trying to think of his name.
But anyway, he says, listen, I quit the story and got low key because he really couldn't tell who was clean, and the theory was problematic for him. So what was your thoughts now as like major revelations on what happened with Robin are starting to be revealed here?
I kind of knew at this point that they clearly were going to go digging to find out exactly what this meant, because now KJ became the missing piece. And clearly by the way Elizabeth is pursuing everything, I knew she wasn't going to give up at this point.
Yeah.
Did I think they would go down the angle they went down? No, because I was wondering, like you, like, okay, wait a minute. We got so many storylines going on here. If we throw a dirty cop in there, I was wondering, would the cop be connected to the Baxters somehow, or somehow to Desire, and then that's why Robin was killed, and it goes full circle that way. But I just wasn't expecting the route it went down. But I thought the dots would be connected to one of the big gangs already existed there with whoever this dirty cop was.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. At this point now, we do need to see Wayne Jenkins. He does need to show up. That just makes this all make sense.
Hey, and some Jordans and knocking 40s out of people's hands. That's all they get in Baltimore. That's it. Wayne would have had this case solved in a week. He'd have planted so much evidence of so many different people.
Yeah.
Everybody going to jail.
Yep. We got the car ride with Michael and Elizabeth, and this was interesting. More of a understanding of Robin and Michael's relationship. As Michael mentioned, like, we had good times. But Elizabeth said that, like, she wasn't happy, and it wasn't you, Michael. She just wasn't happy. And you know, basically, you know, what kept her around was Adam, which you could imagine that she was alive after that as well. So, like, that's a big burden to kind of put on Michael with all of this and whatnot.
Yeah.
But you know, this is Elizabeth is, you know, she just needs to know what's happening with her child. But I guess she gave Michael a sigh of relief of saying, like, listen, she didn't step out in the marriage because you did anything.
Had nothing to do with you. Love that line right there to say that. Like, I was never concerned with you. It was her. She was the issue here. And I didn't think she loved you enough. Like, that's a hell of a thing to tell someone as they're still grieving their wife. That is, I don't think she was going to love you enough.
Yeah.
That was why I had issues with you two getting married. That is crazy.
Michael about to turn to a savage now. He getting all these affirmations. My man about to come out with the strap. You know, he ain't gonna be with the shits no more. You know,
even coming out with a strap or a dangly earring is one of the two.
Carlo and Gina. Carlo's upset because he's only on security and he wanted to do more, obviously, because that's why he was asking, you know, Jimmy was good. But she, you know, she says she will talk to him and kind of see what happens. But with this being said, you know, Gina, the two of them going to see Fia, because what's better than some good old Uncle Carlo and Godfather bonding time with little Rocco? Oh, what could go wrong here, folks? Anywho, immediately after they walk out the door, my man setting up moves here with the little chick at the desk here. I
get some cheeks the moment they step out. His mind was like, man, I ain't worry about that, baby.
Wow, like, okay. Anywho, this is the big part of this episode. We have Jimmy and Carmine Conti, and it's been a lot of putting Jimmy in his place, but also it's a lot of holding the mirror up to Jimmy's face and Carmine asking him, "What do you see?" Because what you see ain't really there. It's right here, buddy, right in your head. All that imagination here. But listen. He brought about, like, learning about how he controlled everything. Jimmy.
Yeah,
you don't want to lose control, you know, but because all that control is just a figment of your imagination there. And you act to fool one person, you. And as he pushed Jimmy in his place, you know, he says, like, Jimmy does kind of rebuttals with saying, like, I'm really good at what I do, and you should have some respect. I was like, oh, look at Jimmy, not firing back, just coming back really smooth, you know. But he says
soft little lobs back, like he playing pickleball or something. You should respect my moves, not you will respect my moves. None of that nature. Nothing too forceful.
Yep. Not Jimmy that we know from season 1. But anyway, he says, like, listen, you will get real power. And I will tell you all about what real power is. Well, he did tell him what real power is by allowing this deal. Because at this point now, you're just nothing but a thug like me.
That's it.
What is your thoughts as I mildly summarize this very important conversation between Carmine and Jimmy for this
Carmine
episode?
gives him
One
the
of the
best
two.
Gives him the best speech in the world when he says, "You control the docks. There's drugs that come through these docks. There's people that get trafficked that come through these docks. So much illegal stuff go through these docks, but yet you want to act like you're innocent." Like basically telling Jimmy, it's all, you don't think you deal drugs, but when drugs come through those docks that you know about, you're a drug dealer. You may think you're innocent, but you're trafficking people because they're making their way through your docks. Like
Yep.
it's the revelation, and I don't think it's a revelation for Jimmy in a way, because I think Jimmy fully understood what he was doing. But this is for someone to pull a curtain back on you and see your bullshit, and you have to deal with it when they see it. That's the issue here with him and Carmine, is that Carmine pulled it back and like, you're no better than anybody. And as he said, what you wonder, you're not even a thug, but you just want to turn it on when you need to turn it on. That's not the way this works. And it's proven constantly this is not the way this works. I just love that speech of letting Jimmy understood that, hey, you're a criminal. You're no different than anyone else. You look down on a drug dealer by saying, I don't deal drugs, but you're in the drug business. Clearly you're in the drug business because they're coming through your docks. Like you're in the human trafficking business. It's coming through your dock. And I think that's what, even if Jimmy didn't need it, that's what the audience needed to fully understand.
Yeah.
The code of conducts of criminals don't exist.
Yeah.
Because you may think you're better than one, but you couldn't possibly be. Because if you know what's going on, 9 times out of 10 it's going on in your city and you're allowing it. For Jimmy, it's coming through your docks and you're allowing it. My brother, you're in the drug game. Just enjoy it.
I literally was like, oh man, this is like the moment on How High where they were frying the professor and they just kept saying, get him. I was like, get him. I was like, damn, my man dropped the 10 bar on him real quick. Jimmy didn't have nothing to fire back with.
Hey, but
man.
Jimmy was so mad.
So mad.
Built up frustration because he didn't know what to do because someone pulls your card.
Yeah, so bad. Man, lucky Gina wasn't around. She would have been co-signing it all right there. He would have had to lay hands on her again.
Yeah, at that point, I gotta slap you in front of your father. Because what I'm not gonna have you do, you already you've been punking him this whole season, Joe.
Yeah.
Calling him not a man and everything else. I can't have in that situation your daddy really exposing the man that I am, and then you be over his shoulder like Diddy. Yeah, take that. Like, we're not doing that, Joe.
Oh man. So we got the Desire Boys back in the bar, bar one, should we say? Cutting the product. Terrence cutting the product, and then some little boy comes to the bar. It was like, wait, what?
They let everybody in the stash.
Yeah, like, what the fuck? Terrence's little brother come through the giant, like, what the hell is going on? Like, whatever. And I assume that's his little brother here because he mentioned,
he said, "Mama killed me."
Exactly.
You see it.
Exactly. Meanwhile, we have Joey just snapping a picture like you mentioned. I was like, okay.
My other man up that joint just cutting the bricks up, just with no issue at all. Yeah. Not a care in the world.
4K, hey. Just don't even care. Probably 8K at this point. My man just sitting there, just like,
30 frames per second. He giving it all up. He don't care one bit. So it is, again, it's funny, but again, you got to understand that they're just that comfortable because of Big Mo.
Yeah. So we get to the corner store, and Michael and Elizabeth, they're looking for KJ. And listen, sister at the register, she don't get paid enough to be out here taking inquiries. Okay, so this is definitely her one ear out the other. And at this point, I didn't know what was going to happen, but we'll talk about it in a minute. We get Fia and Gina hanging out because they go to the church to talk about the baptism. And we get this cool priest talking to Fia all about the meaning of the meaning of baptizing the kid and what does it mean to her, why she's doing it, and Gina's all this other stuff, and just a whole bunch of nothing here, at least for me. Just anything you pick up out of this?
I picked up that Fia don't want this baby to get baptized at all.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I picked up here. This is not for her.
Yeah.
It's strictly for her mother.
Yep. Big Mo at the new spot. and talking to a girl. It's like, what's up, girl? Like you acting all off, as she says to Big Mo. Says, listen, you know what it is. And at this point now, wait. Is this the scene I'm talking about? I need to do better.
Hey, people! This is what happens when you
cover
7 shows at one time.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You kindly watch. You like, I got my notes, so I know I'm reading it right. Let me see. Does it say white woman walks into a church? I'm trying to see, like, how did you take
I definitely, yeah. Big Mo is going off to the new club, but at this point now, she gives Eugene some money and says, here's a stack, you earned it, no questions, no strings. And then he asks about Little Mo and says, listen, this is when Eugene lays out this whole credibility in terms of, who are you, Big Mo? You acting real tough, all guarded, but he mentions, like, your sister's a good person. She took me and she took care of me. She also gave a line of credibility. He gave a line of credibility to Lil Mo. And, you know, as you mentioned, Aunt Sheila, and why can't you, family should stick together? Because he said,
why aren't y'all talking? And it was Big Mo saying, he brought up someone else first. I'm trying to think if that was Little Mo.
It was Lil Mo.
Or it was Little Mo. And he asked about
it was Lil Mo, and then, Lil Mo, Aunt Sheila. And he says, listen, if I had my family, I would give up everything in order to make sure that there was nothing that got in between us. That was, I mean, you talk about coming out party. Eugene out here had to drop some bars too, and just saying that, like, I get all this is happening, but like, family means a lot, and he has lost everything. And like, I love the script in this episode, because at what point does he drop that information? Just in case you don't know, because you can easily say, let him detail it right here, but he actually details it later in a part that I thought meant a lot more than it did here. But understanding they're sort of the same dynamic. These are two people that tried to kill him.
Yes.
and he gave them both a realization of just how important life is and how important family is. And Big Mo definitely, so you done with your sermon, and says, I hope I never see you again. Just completely ruthless.
Dismissive as hell, Joe. It's perfect. It's perfect. It fits Big Mo to the T. Down to him talking about her with Sheila and saying, well, it's out of my control.
Yeah.
Basically saying, I'm not the one who cut off communication. She did. It's out of my control.
We'll talk more about Big Mo, because there's a two-parter to really profiling her as a person. Like, what's really good with Big Mo? Why she act the way she does? But we'll talk about it. Carlo, and now the chick, because no surprise, that's who he's texting, comes to the room, getting ready to get it in. But Joey's calls outside the hotel, said, we need to talk. I got something for you. And had told chick, hey, all you need to do is watch Baby Rocco. That's it. Completely irresponsible. Not the chick, but Carlo. But he says,
we're talking about Carlo. This again proves why he can't go to the meetings.
You
left your nephew,
your godson,
with a complete stranger to go somewhere else.
Terrible. He says, listen, I saw that boy that took a shot at you a couple of hours ago down in Lower Ninth. And Carlo says, this your car? They get in the car and they go. And, you know, when they get there, you know, he just says, like, you know, just let's just stay close to whenever they get ready to pull off, as, you know, just kind of combining the scenes. When they pull up, they see Eugene and stuff getting in the car. Whatnot. But anywho, back at the corner store, Michael phone is being blown up by his bestie because one, not only she MIA this episode, but he's been MIA because he hasn't been in the house where she can usually find him.
That is true.
So, yeah. So
and Rosie ain't having it. She gonna fight the power if he keep on playing with her.
But as the two of them grow a little impatient here, Elizabeth and Michael just wondering, just waiting, and just wondering how long it's going to take. And then KJ shows up, and they just say, "Hey, listen, I know we're like bombarding you here real quick, but like we're looking for answers." And he says those answers won't help you, as you mentioned, but I know, Yeah, because I know the answers, and my life has been shit, as you mentioned earlier. So we'll kind of combine these. I should have combined this a little bit better, but we're going through the scenes as they happen. Back at Big Mo, with her girl now at the new spot as they're having practice, and she says, "What's wrong, Monique?" And she says, "Remember, don't ask, don't tell, or don't tell, don't." Yeah. So remember, so
don't ask, don't tell.
Don't ask, don't tell. She says, "Hey, you have such a good heart, but why do you turn it off? And you turn it off for too long, you forget how to turn it back on." Now, sir, as we see comments like that, kind of gets under Big Mo's skin in a way of sort of just realization here. What do you think is going through her head at this point now? Because now this is two people that have checked her in terms of how she's just strutting around like shit.
But she thinks she still thinks she's right. In all honesty, I don't think there's no need to like read too deep into the comments from Big Mo's perspective, because Big Mo ain't paying attention to them. From an audience perspective, what we need to understand is like it's telling her all that nice guy stuff is only going to get you but so far, because right now you're blazing a path that is completely opposite from the person you are, but that's going to be the person most people are going to know.
Yeah, and
that's the issue here. And it's the same thing. It's the same conversation they had 2 episodes ago, episode 4 and 5, about the way Big Mo treats family. Like, how do you do that to him and he's your nephew?
Yeah, everybody's suspendable to her.
Yeah. And that's the key problem, is that everybody can be replaced. But we got to come realize everybody can't be replaced.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, like her girl said, like, if this is how you with family, this ain't gonna work for me. So the list of things are just piling on before she eventually
cut me off this damn fast. Like, it makes no sense. Why would I say in this situation?
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, Eugene is in the car, and he's getting ready to be taken to the bus. And what do you have here? This car is T-boned because this is not at all what I thought Joey assignment was by Carlo, to stay near them. But he says, yeah, I'll stay near them, so near that I'm gonna be on top of them. But it's an accident.
I'm gonna roll this Outback through this 300. That's how close I'm gonna be.
So Russell's driving. So yeah, they get T-boned. The car flips. At the point, it looks like Russell's dead, but he is alive. Joey does not look alive.
No, Joey's dead.
Yeah,
we can say it now.
Yeah,
he's clearly dead.
Carlos hurt. He looks at Joey. He says, "Stupid fuck." As we see Carlo kind of wedged in the car, and he's coming to, trying to regain his consciousness, and he looks over at the gun because he knows there's still an assignment to be done. Yeah, folks. Yeah, this is the scene from Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. I get it. This was Statham and Han, Hobbs. Shaw and Hobbs at the end of Tokyo Drift. So I didn't see the chain, but you'll see it the next time they film this scene, because apparently there was a chain dropped, because it wasn't dropped the first time. But it's okay. Storytelling. But Eugene gets out the car and he gets to the gun first, and he aims it at Carlo. And this is where he does give you the detail, folks, just in case you forgot. You killed Kofi. You beat my brother to death for no reason. You blow up my mama house. You killed my whole family. What did we ever do to you? And then you tried to kill me? So you saying fuck me? Nah, man, fuck you. Aims the barrel of the gun to his face, drops the gun, and gets low. What did you think about this?
Not shoot the damn gun. Like, I knew then that this was going to be a mistake by Eugene, because Carlo's not someone you can leave alive. Like, if I was thinking, well, with the accident, there's no telling what he can leave behind. But you left Carlo alive. That's the key thing that you left behind, because he shouldn't have been left alive. Like, you exposed way too much by even doing all of that. Matter of fact, you exposed way too much having this fucking book. This book has been the vein of my existence since I saw it.
We ain't get to the book yet. We almost there.
But like you have evidence left in that car. Kill him and then gather your stuff and then go.
Oh, it's a little kid.
Leaving
You
him
know, he
alone.
didn't know what to do.
He took a shot at him already.
He didn't know.
I mean, dude.
Facts. Okay.
He already got one body on his belt. Might as well get another one.
Yeah.
The second
Poor
one
Adam.
is always easier than the first one.
What? What is that called? A confession or something?
No. Wait. All I say is the second one is easier than the first one. You get to be nervous with the first one. You're getting nervous on the second one.
All right, folks. Well, if you somehow got to get through this review without it being taken down, we appreciate you listening tonight. As this one may be turned over for evidence here. If you do not see us back for episode 7, just know at this very moment right here, we fucked up.
Nancy done got me. And
and
she waiting for Officer Bryan to come arraign me. So I just said at Michael's court.
But we'll talk a little bit about it in a second here. But like, do you think that just at this moment, and just a brief answer here, did you think Carlo learned anything in this moment?
No, because Carlo doesn't learn anything. Like, if we're waiting for Carlo to learn a lesson, I think this scene really showed everything we need to know about Carlo moving forward. I'll say that before we get to the last scene with Carlo in the hospital. But this scene here lets you know everything you need to know about Carlo. And it's that he don't learn lessons ever.
Yeah. So we got KJ outside, now all outside. He's telling a story about the turf wars and whatnot. And he say, I used to use this one college to trade me drugs for information. And I used to pay him in other ways and whatnot. He said it's a fucked up situation. And he trusted that he could control me. He used to spill his heart and tell him everything. A lot of pillow talking about everything that was going on. He talked about time that he shot a guy execution style. And then, he eventually, KJ told him, like, listen, I'm trying to get clean, so we're done. Our little arrangement agreement here is done. Anywho, he said that he had got a call from Robin working on a story of police brutality. Folks, at this very moment right now, I know y'all may have y'all thoughts about Robin sleeping with this black guy, but Robin is an ally. Robin was out here in the streets repping that Black Lives Matter, and she was not going to let this get any further. She was going to make sure she did what she had to do to become an ally.
She's going to talk about the biggest important part of that, and then you went right to the ally moment.
Oh, my bad. but as you said, she didn't call KJ.
There you go.
That night.
No, she called KJ that night.
Yeah.
He didn't call her.
Yes, thank you.
Who is this person?
Yeah,
that called her that Michael overheard again?
Yeah.
Same issue.
Yep. And so when she came into the store and whatnot, he came right behind him, and that's what happened. He said she got shot, and he says it was the cop. And they said, "Who is it?" Detective Walter Beckwith. And he says, "I'm 100. Although he was masked up, I'm 1,000% sure I knew who he was." Well, sure, yeah. If you give him fellatios and all this other shit, then I'm sure you know exactly what this guy is and whatnot. So there's that. So Fia and Gina comes back, because we'll talk about Detective Walter in a minute. Fia and Gina comes back. The baby's crying, won't stop, and the ladies in there like, won't stop crying. He said, "Where's Carlo?" He's laughing. That's when they find out the cop at the scene of the accident here. At this moment, this was the title of my notes. The cop at the scene of the accident, folks, here. And in case your notes say the same thing, I'm here to give you some clarification on this. Not only is Eugene's sketchbook snitching, it's almost like this person is a serial killer here. Because they said serial killers like to come back to the scene of the crime to try to get their glory. And instead,
treasures, they call them, right?
Yeah.
When they leave them there, or they from a distance, they can see the whole scene break down, and they like to see it that way.
Yeah. So being a detective definitely helps here. And while this moment, we see that, this guy that's here, and he looks at the sketch. He's asking, was anybody else in the car? And he says, okay, so sketchbook is in full effect here, giving all the clues it needs. And then he says, I need to talk to that guy, as he talks to Russell here. This moment now, folks, in case y'all don't know, this is Detective Walter Beckwith. But in case you didn't know here, you're definitely going to know by the end of the episode here. This is the same detective that they mentioned in the story that has now came to this scene that had, at the end of the episode, paid a visit to Eugene. He works fast. Who's calling him? Who's giving him intel? Who's on his side? Or does he just have a thing for black males? Who?
Hey, I'm about to say, because he definitely was looking at my guy when he got out the accident.
Russell.
Yep. Russell.
Yeah.
Like, you next.
Yeah.
Like, he's sizing him up. Like, there's no telling.
Yeah. But even if he didn't, that NFL script book that he had right there tells you exactly all the plays that were going to happen. And tonight, Eugene just snitching it all up there.
Down to the name written on the cup, the headstone in this book. Like, my God, you just want everybody to get caught. Yeah. Like, stop drawing.
Yeah,
you're snitching over and over again in your drawings. Like, it's a wild thing. But again, it was a big reveal that, so this is the cop here. This is the cop we know killed Robin. What else is left for this cop to do?
And if I'm not mistaken, because I just thought about it right now, this was the cop that was with the mayor when they wanted to know, was Eugene taken care of?
Was that him?
I think it is.
I swear it was a different cop. I'm not sure though.
Yeah, y'all can let us know in the comments.
Big Mo met. Yeah, right when Big Mo met them, and he's like, and he had to find a body. I didn't think that was him though.
Yeah. So y'all can let us know in the comments. Let us know what's good with that. Anywho, Elizabeth, as she mentioned, no one doesn't help. And he said, I should have been there for you. And then he tells a big revelation here. He says, like, listen, talked about the Adam part of this, but he said, I was going to wait to tell you this, but I want you to know that Fia Baxter has a baby and your great grandmother. And I can't even lie, that choked me up when she found that out. She was completely emotional.
The way she broke down.
Yeah. Choked her up, choked me up. And he asked, how is he? He said, he's perfect. What a good moment for the two of them.
Yeah.
Carlo in the hospital. And they asked what happened, and I think he tried to deflect, and then said, this ain't the time. And then he said, fine. And then he just tells it all. He says, I was in a car accident with Joey. Fia says, how could you leave my son with a stranger? But yeah, as I said, he comes clean halfway with the story here. It says, I had a chance to take the fucker out that tried to kill me. He tried to kill me. No, he didn't. You tried to kill him. And that sent everybody, especially Gina, in a frenzy of saying, find that boy tonight. And Carmine tells Jimmy, I need a word. He says, not right now. And he says, yes, right now. He said, get over here. And took care of that. And he says, oh boy, call that man James. They getting disrespectful out here now. And he says, you're afraid to be a man. And I understand that you don't want to be like your daddy here. But yeah, you basically you need to grab your balls, man. You need to take care of it.
You got fucked up daddy issues and you don't want to be like him, but step up. And we've never seen Jimmy Punk so mad before. In-laws, I swear.
And he says, find Eugene and send a message to the whole city. And it doesn't look like Jimmy actually wanted to do that, but instead Jimmy goes in there and because this is what Frankie tells him, like, we need to find that boy and send a message to Cindy, and instead he beats Frankie down. I hope Frankie's still alive, because wouldn't that be a terrible arc? But he definitely beat Frankie down
to a T.
Yeah, but so this makes me think that this detective may be working with the Baxters here. I mean, was this the call that was made here?
And that's what I've been wondering. But from the accident to the sketchbook to catching Eugene happened so fast. I didn't know if enough time passed away where he would reach back out to the Baxters. Or is it a situation with Eugene alive? Is he a threat somehow to this detective? And he was going after killing him.
Yeah. I mean, the detective sleeping with, some KJ of these. And I'm sure that's not going to be a favorable look from, the Baxters, but you know, if he is working with them, and obviously him being a dirty cop ain't a good look. So everything he's doing is low key. He's definitely undercover.
Extremely.
That's what I did there. That was a good pun.
He's undercover in every way humanly possible, basically.
I can do a pun every once in a while. Anyway, Big Mo comes in and she asks us what's up to everybody at the bar, and no one says what's up. She's like, yo, like, what's up? And say, man, Chris, little brother took one of the balloons and now he's dead. So there is that. And then we get Michael in the car calling Nancy saying, I know why you cannot solve Robin's murder, because the killer is one of yours. She said, I need you to come into the police station. He says, I'm on the way. And then for our last scene, we have Eugene boarding the bus once again. And he's looking rough. I'm like, I know they're going to say something about him being bloodied and whatnot. And he gives the squinty eyes just to be shot. And
you knew it was going to happen too.
Yeah. And is he dead?
But he got hit in the shoulder though.
Yeah.
Looks like he got hit in the shoulder.
Right. Looks like, and again, was that just the message sent to? Who knows? There's a lot to make. I will allow the fans here right now to let us know your thoughts on, is Eugene alive or dead? Who do you think, not only like organization wise, is behind this? Was this just a dirty cop hit? Was this a hit tied to the Baxters? Was this some type of like ad hoc work where somebody said, I need you to do this one thing? Who's truly behind this detective out here doing his thing, as he is truly undercover here, raping these little black boys on fucking February? What the hell is wrong with him? This is not the move here. We need more allies. You know, rest in peace to Robin, a real
not
one.
Him touching them and them singing "We Shall Overcome." That's a hell of a.
I feel like there's some other things. I mean, we talked about Big Mo's psychology here in terms of what's going on here. Carlo, I mean, so yeah, I didn't give you a chance to talk about it, but Carlo being in the hospital and lying about what happened here, did you make anything of that, or he just being him?
I made way more people thinking, you know, Carlo's going to be good. He's going to give us a huge turnaround because Eugene left him alive. And at the moment's notice, it's that little guy who shot me did this. Instead of being like, he just spared my life. He had me dead to rights. And yet still, I need to, even after Eugene laid the cards out, basically informing Carlo, technically, if you didn't do what you did, we wouldn't be in this situation.
Yeah.
He didn't want to hear that.
And on the stitch. And Carlo and Russell are the only two, and Big Mo knew he was going to the bus. So, like, you know, it's an array of people who could have been responsible for this. So we'll see. But yeah, y'all can do us a favor by getting in the comments, letting us know your thoughts about tonight's episode. And we're back next week for more coverage on Your Honor Season 2. Thank you for watching, folks.